Want the secret sauce to keto? It ain't that. I almost don't want to tell you the answer. Success on keto is pretty easy, but people usually don't like what I have to advise for staying the long game. I have plenty of great keto advice, like eat eggs and buffalo wings at the beginning. And these practical tips we'll get to, but the key to really being great at long-term keto is start with a really good reason why you're doing it and surround yourself with other good examples of how to keto well. There are medical and scientific reasons why you don't want to do this alone. Specifically, they're called mirror neurons. Yes, these are the neurons found in our brains and in the brains of all primates. And it's how we learn by mimicking behavior. As a child, you learned in many ways, but as an adult, one of the key things that you need to activate to learn a behavior that you did not learn in childhood is a mirror neuron. This is critical for you being able to adopt new behaviors that last over time. When I'm working with patients who really do not know how to cope with stress outside of eating, I need them to see another person who's struggling with that same problem and learning to apply new coping skills. Once one person masters that skill, the mirror neurons inside everybody's brain activates and we all get a little better just by watching that one example. So how do you build this? Well, let's start with the easiest, lowest level of a support group, which is a group chat. So many people get in a group chat and they're able to motivate each other by talking about the weight loss, talking about the motivation for losing weight. I teach keto for much more reasons than weight loss, but I find that people first step into this really weird way of eating because that's what they want, is the weight loss. Sustainability is there because of the many other reasons why losing that weight and having that removal of inflammation is percolating within your body. Step one though, start with a group chat. If you've mastered a group chat, or even better, you've worn out a group chat, the next best level is to meet in person. Virtually is okay too, but we know those mirror neurons are best done when you're meeting in person. I've been doing keto since 2015, and I've been doing a support group since then too. This support group is absolutely why I'm able to stay the course despite seasons of loss and stress and turmoil in my own life. That support group is where I activate the things that I'm not quite as good at either. I would not still be doing keto had it not been for my support group as well. You do not need to be an expert to lead a group either. That's not a good excuse. Beginners, you are welcome. Just find quality advice on keto to follow. Of course, I think my advice is pretty great. So if you'd like a workbook or follow my online course, those are great sources for the information to infuse in your group. But you still need to conduct the group. So here's a few of those practical highlights on keto and on how you sustain a good group. For starters, do not play the net carb game. I've said this over and over again, but it really is important. When you step into keto, save yourself the heartache and do 20 total carbohydrates, not net carbs. Avoid this mistake. You will thank me later. Number two is don't fear fat. Yes, your body really does need to fat adapt. I have folks hop into this, cut down their carbs, and then they stop eating. You really do need to be fat adapted for your endocrine system to last the long game. So do not be afraid of fat. At the beginning, it's really important that you become fat adapted. And number three is you need to measure your ketones. You are not on the ketogenic diet if you're not making ketones. So beginners, start with the cheap stuff and use urine ketone strips. As you become fat adapted, you're gonna have to level up to checking your blood ketones and blood glucose. This really is an amazing metric that you can check how well your metabolism, how well your chemistry set is doing to keep you keto and get the benefits from staying consistently keto. Got that? Now teach someone else. It's the best way to learn, is to teach somebody what you've just learned. Here's some important lessons that I've learned from teaching others. Number one, teach it right. Use the steps in my workbook. It is a cheap way to get a list of the rules and the outcome that I'm sure you're looking for. Number two, find a venue. I host a free support group for my community at the bowling alley. Other folks use a church or the public library. And of course, you can use an online group as well. The key is to form solid relationships with real problems and real check-ins. Next, there is no food at a keto meeting. It's like bringing alcohol to an AA meeting. Do not eat at your support groups. Next, let your beginners observe. You will ruin a meeting if you let newbies come in and take over the meeting. You want them to watch, observe, and adopt the culture that you're setting in that meeting. But the final and most important part that I have added to my support group is that you connect your people with data. Yes, we use positive peer pressure for everybody in our group that is doing the long game with keto to share those numbers on a dashboard. We are super thankful that Keto Mojo took some feedback from our support groups and said, you shouldn't just let doctors lead support groups, let the average person lead a support group. And indeed, that's just what they've done. Connect your support groups with data. And from that, you will find that you will say no to that snitch of food at night because your numbers in the morning are going to show it. And when you have a support group watching with you, the choices do get easier. The best part about that application, it's totally free. Take your meters, connect them together on a dashboard that Keto Mojo helps you be better at ketoing. For a step-by-step on how to create this free support group, connecting you with data, click on the end screen or I'll put it in the show notes below. We'll see you in a support group.